Welcome back to the R2S Sports channel. For this video, we'll be going over Game Week 3 of the Premier League, give you some predictions, who will win, who's going to lose, all that. So let's get right into the video. For the first game, we have Manchester City versus Arsenal. City came off a really big win last week against Norwich, winning 5-0. Looked really good in that game. Arsenal comes in a little hot too. They had a 6-0 cup win against West Brom. So I'm expecting this game to be a little more competitive than the stats may seem. Obviously, Man City with the 69% chance of winning this game based on stats and percentages. I expect Man City to win this game, though. I'm thinking Jack Grealish will up his performance from last week with his tap and goal. I think he'll definitely have an assist in this game. But for Arsenal, definitely look out for Aubameyang and Lacazette to come back. I think they could definitely perform this game. The score that I have for this game is 3-0 to Man City. A bet that I'm looking at taking for this game is over 3 at -125. For our next game, we head over to Villa Park, where they have 2 home games in a row, this time facing off against Brentford. Aston Villa are pretty big favorites in this game. Villa also looked really good defensively last week with Tyrone Mings getting an assist as well. Brentford, what they need is they need their top 2 men to start getting going. I'm talking either Mbeumo or Ivan Toney. They need at least one of those 2 guys to score a goal. That being said, though, I think that Aston Villa will come away with this game 2-1. I do think Ivan Toney or Mbeumo will come away with a goal in this game, though. But for Villa, I think their quality will just overcome Brentford's goal scorers. The bet that I'm looking at for this game is Aston Villa at -1. Obviously, I only have this game as a 1-point difference, but that means it will push. I have Aston Villa -1, and it's currently at +175 odds, so that's what I'm looking at. Next up, we head over to the south coast of England, where we have Brighton versus Everton. I think this is probably going to be one of the higher scoring matches of this week. Both teams aren't the best defensively. Everton letting in 3 goals through the first 2 games. Brighton only let in 1 so far, but I think they're prone to leaking goals. I think Brighton will mostly maintain the ball for most of the game. They're a very good possession team and have a really good press to them, similar to the way Chelsea plays. I think that will definitely help them out in this game in maintaining how they want to play the game. But I think an issue with Brighton is that their defense gets sometimes a little too confident and they end up leaking goals. If you watch the match against Watford last week, Watford had about 5 to 6 chances towards the last 15 minutes of the game where they definitely could have put one away. I think Dennis did score a goal but was offsides. So I think they'll definitely get scored on. Look for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to continue his forms this game. He scored in the last 2 games, and I think he'll make it 3 in a row in this game. I have this game going down as Everton win this game 3-2. What I'm looking at for this game is the over. So the over for 3 goals is currently at +228. So that's one bet that I'm definitely looking at. For our next game, it is Newcastle versus Southampton. I think this game's going to be pretty even. Newcastle so far in the season, very 2 uninspiring performances. They need their 2 forwards to get going. St. Maximin and Callum Wilson haven't looked too good so far in the first 2 games. Definitely need something out of them. Southampton, on the other hand, did get a good performance against Manchester United with that 1-1 draw. I don't know how many more points Southampton will get this year. Obviously, their defense is not too bad. I do think they have a good positional battle at the right back position between Livramento and Kyle Walker-Peters. I think the right back position has the most depth, so I think they will keep a clean sheet in this game, but I don't think their attack has much going for them. So I do have this game going as a tie, and the bet that I'm looking for this game is under 2.5 goals at -110. Up next, we have Norwich versus Leicester City. Now, Norwich, they have not had any easy games so far this season. First against Liverpool, then against Man City, and now they're facing off against Leicester. 3 teams that have all won the Premier League within the last 5-6 years. And I think something that Norwich needs to change for this game, in their cup game, they had really good performances. I think they scored 5 goals. They weren't playing that good of an opponent, though, but I think they will perform slightly better in this compared to the other 2 games. I think they do have a chance at a goal. I don't think Norwich is going to score until they get Timu Puki out of the team. He hasn't looked too good so far the first 2 games. Maybe it's his age catching up to him. I think they should definitely look to put Josh Sargent into the team. He had 2 goals last game and I believe an assist in their cup game. So I think they should definitely throw him in there for a chance, especially because he has a good link up with Rashika. So I think if they throw him in, he could look pretty good. On to Leicester, on the other hand, Leicester was really unlucky last week with their red card, but I think Leicester might want to consider benching Jamie Vardy. Seems like a crazy statement, but I think Ike Nacho and Daka bring more to the table than him currently. He looked very uninspired last game, even though they were down 10 men. But if I was Leicester, I would definitely consider benching him. I do have this going as a 2-0 Leicester win, though. And what I'm looking at is Leicester money line at minus 119. Up next, we head over to a London derby. We have West Ham versus Crystal Palace. West Ham are heavy favorites in this game, and I don't blame the odds for them being this heavy at all. Crystal Palace has looked absolutely abysmal this season under Patrick Vieira. Their forwards just can't get anything going. I think Palace should definitely look at getting a goal scorer, maybe Odson Edouard. I think he's definitely someone who Palace has been rumored with. Also, Palace need Zaha to step up. Maybe give him the captain's armband because every time he has that, he seems to score. So I think Palace needs to make some kind of change. West Ham has 8 goals in 2 games so far. I don't think that form's going to stop. I do have them winning this game 3-1. Obviously, I have Palace scoring their first goal of the season just because West Ham has conceded a goal per game. But I do think West Ham will be pretty dominant. And the bet that I'm taking for this game is West Ham at minus 1.5 and is currently at plus 150. Next up, we head over to Anfield, where we have the biggest game of the week, where you have 2 very top teams in the league playing against each other. Currently for Chelsea, Lukaku is firing for them, scoring a goal in his first game for them this season. Although it's just a tap in, I don't think he's going to get too much against Liverpool because Van Dijk, whenever he plays, they seem to have a clean sheet. He's looked really good in 2 games so far this season, so I think he'll continue that through this game. I think Liverpool's attack will put too much press on the Chelsea backline, which hasn't experienced too much press so far this season. So I think Liverpool will get 1 goal out of this and keep a clean sheet as well. I think Chelsea's attack is just a little too inconsistent at times, so I think Liverpool will slightly come away with this game. Plus, you can always count Liverpool to win a game at Anfield. So I do have a bet that I'm taking for this game. I am taking Liverpool money line at plus 148. Now we have our first game of Sunday. We have Tottenham versus Watford. I think Tottenham's pretty obviously pretty high favored for a reason. I think they're definitely the better side over Watford, especially with Harry Kane potentially starting this game. He did come back last week against Wolves. Didn't look too good, but I think his link-up play with Son will continue from last season into this season. I think you should definitely look to captain Son. I do have him as my captain this week. I think Watford will continue to struggle through this game. Didn't look too good in their last game against Brighton, losing 2-0. They did have a pretty good push towards the end of the game, but I don't think that's going to be enough momentum. They did beat Palace in a cup game with their backups. Ben Foster looked really good, and I think he should be starting a goal for them. Shout out the cycling goalkeeper. But I don't think there's going to be too much in them for them. So I think Spurs will win this game 4-0. I think NES will finally have a solid performance as manager. The bet that I'm taking is over 2.5 goals at minus 130. For our next Sunday game, we have Burnley versus Leeds. Burnley, they've had some pretty good chances in the first 2 weeks, scoring a set piece, having a few against Liverpool. But I think they definitely need to get their forwards more involved in the play. I don't know how much they're going to actually have to do that against Leeds because Leeds are a pretty possession-heavy based team. They do leak a few goals, though. I think Burnley will continue struggling getting the ball to their forwards. But obviously, yeah, as I said, Leeds, similar to last year, leak a lot of goals. I think they have the most goals against them so far this season with 7. Not too much to look into this game. I think Leeds will come away pretty easily with the 2-0 win. So the bet I'm taking for this game is Leeds money line at plus 128. For our final game of this week, we have Wolves versus Manchester United. For Wolves, I think Adama Traore will eventually score this season. I did predict him to score last week, but he did not against Spurs. I don't know if Wolves will get a point from this game, but I think if they do, it'll put them into a really good momentum shift. Their next 5 games are really easy games against bottom 10 teams in the league. So I think if they do get a point out of this game, it'll be a really good momentum for them. But they are playing one of the best teams in the league, and that is Manchester United. I think Manchester United need to get Rafael Varane onto the field. I think they do need to look at a defensive mid or just start McTominay, because I don't think Fred and Matic are good enough for what is Manchester United. Another thing about Man U, this was Martial's first start since March for the club, but I think he might go straight back to the bench as his performance wasn't very good for them. But with that being said, I think Manchester United will win this game 2-1. The goal scores for Man U, I think Greenwood will score, and I think there's a chance Bruno scores, but I think he'll definitely get 1 assist in this game. He did blank last week for a fantasy. I would also say he's probably my number 2 player for captain this week, but obviously I'm going with Son. The bet that I'm taking risk for this game, or considering taking, is Man U at -1. I do have a 1 goal differential in this game, but Man U at -1 is plus 137. So that is the bet that I'm looking at. These are all the scores that I predicted for this game week. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.